Hi and welcome back. Oh my god, I haven't done YouTube in so long. This feels so weird just speaking to a camera again. But yeah, I thought I'd do a video. This is like really selfishly, like partly for me, just to look back on, because it is crazy how much I forgot about the second trimester. So I want to document it all in a video, this video, and just talk through everything that happened in my second trimester, so I can watch it back, because it is insane how much you actually forget. I have to apologise right at the start for my nose, like how I'm talking and things like that. I've gone to film this so many times over the last week or two, but we were in June, and the hay fever this year is through the roof. I checked with my midwife and I've been reading online, and apparently it can get a lot worse when you are pregnant, because all the symptoms are like heightened and you're more prone and sensitive to things. So that's just brilliant. But obviously I'm in the third trimester now. I'm actually in week 32 now. So yeah, I've been putting off this video for a while, just not feeling great. You can hear it all anyway. I'm finally coming to the end of it. I'm on medication for the hay fever on top of all of my pregnancy bits, which I'll talk through. But just in case you're wondering why I sound so ill, I actually feel okay now. It is just, yeah, the leftover of hay fever symptoms. So yeah, let's get into it. It's basically a video wrapping up. He is Teddy coming to see us with his toy. Teddy, come here. Come on, join us. So I feel like he always seems to be here for all my little videos. You okay? He's so cute. And where are we? We're in Baby's nursery, aren't we? I have just put it out a few weeks ago on my Instagram. The little like half side of the nursery that's done. It's so beautiful. I'm sure he was in my the first trimester little vlog as well. He always seems to be here for like the big videos. But yeah, like I was saying, yeah, it's a wrap up of everything that happened in my second trimester. So yeah, I hope you find it interesting if you're about to go into it or you're in it as well, just to see the difference or similarities with my pregnancy and yours, or just to be nosy if you want to know what's just happened to me in the last few months. And I'm going to actually just keep stopping and reading through this, because thank God I've written in this journal all the way throughout pregnancy, because the amount of stuff I've just seen, even just looking at the first few weeks of the second trimester, is ridiculous how much I forgot. Like, I would not remember any of this happening. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, so first things first. So yeah, second trimester starts in week 13. So we just had our first scan, which was amazing. Still had nausea. I think if you've watched the first trimester, whatever that vlog was that I put out months and months ago, just like everything happening, yeah, I continued into the second trimester with nausea, really bad nausea, to the point where it actually started getting worse in week 13 and 14. I had to change up my medication because it just wasn't. Basically what happened was, the first trimester, every man and his dog decided it was good to tell me that things will get better in the second trimester. So I think because so many people told me this, even like pregnancy apps, you'll start to feel better soon, a few weeks time it'll go, you will not feel sick or nauseous anymore. You start to believe it and think, you know what, the probability is it will start to wear off. So many people are telling me it happened to them. And my biggest like lesson to anyone is just don't say it to someone who's pregnant, because nobody has the same pregnancy. So for as much as it's great that it wore off for people in their first trimester, it's not great hearing it when it hasn't worn off for you. So yeah, that it did become quite annoying, if I'm being honest, because it's just not great hearing that everyone had a breezy second trimester. Not everyone, but majority of people. It'll feel great, you'll get this new burst of energy. People actually telling me I'll actually feel more energy than I did before pregnancy, which I'm calling out now is an absolute lie. Well, for me anyway. That was not the case. My energy just continued to just plummet. I'm in third trimester now and I still don't have that energy. So yeah, I'm living proof that just don't listen to people and just keep, like, I really would suggest like keeping things to yourself to anyone who is pregnant, unless of course they ask and they just want to know what happened with your pregnancy journey. But yeah, it's really off-putting knowing people are just like saying things should happen in your pregnancy when in fact no, they shouldn't, because everyone's body pregnancies are different. So yeah, my nausea didn't stop. And then just reading through the journal of what I've written down, who are me in week 14 said just excited for the first trimester symptoms to go. Very optimistic that they would, obviously at that point still, even though we were already into the second trimester. And just continued to, like, I couldn't stop napping. A few hours a day it was. So that was through the first and in the second one by all of this. And just a little spoiler alert, I'm still taking the odd nap now in the third trimester. So yeah, just I don't have that energy, that boost that came didn't happen for me. Just constantly fatigued. And yeah, to anyone who's been through that pregnancy fatigue, there is nothing in the world like it, is there? Nothing will stop you sleeping. Like I used to say to people, like it just feels like I've been drugged. Like that's the only way to describe it. Like you need to sleep. There's no like doubt about it. What else happened? So yeah, switched up in, I think it was around like week 13 to 16, as I came to terms with the fact that I'm still really nauseous in the second, quite far into the second trimester. I couldn't deal with just the medication I'd been put on, because I think I'd been putting it off thinking I can't be bothered, I don't have the energy to speak to my GP or go to my GP. So I need to just hold on and hope that what everyone's telling me I should start to feel better does happen. And then when that didn't happen, I was in the second trimester, I was like, right, I need to sort this out, because this could be like a long-term symptom in my pregnancy, which it has turned out that way. So yeah, I've been on different medication for the nausea throughout the end of the first trimester, going into the second trimester. Finally found one that works for me, which honestly was just such a game changer. Like, although the only bad thing with the nausea tablets is they are all basically like antihistamines, so, and all of them do cause drowsiness. So on top of the pregnancy fatigue, I was then actually having tablets that made me drowsy on top, but I was just happy to take them to not have that nausea feeling. So yeah, I finally, that was only in I think week 19 or 20, if memory serves me right, that I got tablets that worked for me. So keep pushing and don't make the same mistake I did on just hoping for the best, waiting for that second trimester. Just keep trying and get that medication sorted as quick as you can. I think I'd have probably mentioned it in the first trimester video that I put out as well. My heartburn was really bad, and that was from week 6, which again is just hilarious, because there's the amount of people that are like, oh, when your nausea gets, when you get rid of that, just wait till like the back end of pregnancy when heartburn starts. It's horrific. I've had it from week 6, so yeah, it wasn't a shock to me at all. Came that early, ridiculously. I don't know if that happens to some other people as well, but that was another thing I was dealing with. And also just doesn't help, as my nausea was actually getting worse in the second trimester, my heartburn was getting worse as well, which obviously you get that feeling like a lot of like acid reflux as well, that makes you feel sick, but then you're already feeling sick anyway. So yeah, there was just, they didn't help each other out basically. So yeah, thankfully we went to Dubai, I think it was in week 20, of the second trimester, and thankfully the literally days before we flew got prescribed some heartburn medication, and literally from 24 hours after taking it, it completely wiped it out, and I've barely really felt it since. Like completely stops the feeling, which is just incredible. So I'm just so grateful, because we took our little Babymoon to Dubai in week 20 to like 22 I think it was, and just before then I'd only just cracked the case with getting on the right nausea tablets and the right heartburn tablets, and it was just incredible. Like I actually felt like a normal a tired human being, but a human being nonetheless. So yeah, those were the big two symptoms that I think I definitely faced in the second trimester. So some other bits in the second trimester, so we did a private 16-week scan. I think that's when a lot of people do, like if they want to find out the gender. We didn't, we just literally wanted one, because it felt so long waiting between the 12 and the 20-week scan that you have on the NHS. And it was amazing. The baby was being an absolute nightmare. It was actually when, as soon as they popped up on the screen, they were actually like face down, which was hilarious. It's just seeing like an upside down sort of baby, just literally just like face planting downwards. So yeah, I had to go and walk and wiggle and dance around and do all sorts to try and like wake the baby up to get it to turn around, which thankfully it did. We heard the heartbeat for the first time, and it looks like they were hiccuping, and we've got like a little video. It is so cute, and thankfully no gender was revealed or spoiled for us, so that was really good. Something that's in this book as well, symptom wise, I think this did start in the first if I remember rightly, but I'm still writing about it like in my journal. In the second was just really bad lower back pain. Like it just felt like there was new things, like sort of, what's the word, like friction, like going against each other and rubbing. So every time I like moved or got up or was walking, and I've still to this day got that as well. But yeah, that was just more like a mild, like you just, I sort of dealt with that one. There's not a lot you can do, just a few hot water balls now and again maybe. Yeah, there's quite a lot in the second trimester where, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it basically says just moods and feelings. Like there's a section in the journal and it's just still fatigued and nauseous. And then the sleep and energy levels every single week. I'm having cracking sleeps, like literally amazing sleeps. Sleeping potentially like at least 9 hours a day, like through the night. Uninterrupted, like amazing sleeps, which I have been really grateful for. And then often like 2-3 hour naps on the afternoon as well. So yeah, sleep has not been one of my problems, thankfully. What else? Week 18 started to get quite a lot of dizziness, which was really strange. Basically when I stood up quite a lot, or just where it was a bit warm and I was stood up, and I'd have to go and sit down. Yeah, so it has happened quite a few times, and I've noticed it sometimes when I'm out at like the shops. Sometimes if I'm queuing, it'll just like, I'll really be feeling like a struggle and just trying to keep it together to not sort of pass out. My appetites and cravings definitely started more in the second trimester, and thankfully no weird ones whatsoever. They've just been completely sweet. Like I'm talking biscuits, cake, ice cream, sweets, anything fizzy, like any juices, like apple juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, like love it all. And yeah, so in week 20 I was still, this must have been when I actually got the tablets that work for me in week 20. So that's how long it took me to try and go through all the different tablets. And yeah, I got diagnosed with, oh my god, I'm gonna put the whatever the word is on the screen, but it's called HG. And whenever I mention it to everyone, like what people say is just always, isn't that what Kate Middleton had? So yeah, it's basically extreme nausea or sickness during pregnancy, and I think it's where it is like lasting a long time as well. And then they referred me for a drip at the hospital because it was getting so bad. But then when I phoned the hospital about it, they were like, oh, because you're not actually being sick, we wouldn't suggest coming in for a drip because you're managing to keep food down. So yeah, it's more for if you're actually being sick through that HG. They'd recommend just basically a drip to top up everything that you're not being able to keep down yourself, all the goods and nutrients. And week 20 was the first time I felt baby moving. And yeah, I wrote down, it actually just feels like big bubbles moving around. And then I can feel it more when I'm on my side, because we found out that I have an anterior placenta, so it's front facing, so it can like often cushion a lot of the movements because it's in the way of the baby, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I wasn't actually expecting it so early in my pregnancy because of that, but yeah, I had no troubles at all feeding the baby. And then I've just wrote down here, especially like if I'm laid on my side here, I could feel baby a lot more like round the edges, like out of the way of where the placenta is. So yeah, then we took our trip, our little Babymoon, to Dubai in week 21. And yeah, when was this? Yeah, we felt baby kick. Well, Kyle did. I'd already felt it the week before, all the little weird bubbles, and I'd felt like some hiccuping as well. You could feel like just the same thing over and over for about a minute, which was so cute. We landed in Dubai, got to our hotel, and then we were just chilling afterwards, sussing the room out and stuff, and it was like 4 in the morning. We actually ordered some room service and got food, and when we were laid in bed, he felt the baby kick for the first time, like of all the time. It was, we'd literally just landed on the Babymoon, so that was really, really special as well. And yeah, the difference, I don't know if it was something to do with like the pressure in that plane or just what happens, but I felt like I went with a tiny bump. I tried all my holiday outfits on like the week before because I was getting nervous of like how big I'm like starting to feel, what I thought was big back then. Landed in Dubai and it was like my bump just literally popped, which is crazy, but it does happen around this week anyway. But I like to think it's because the baby likes the sun like me and wanted to pop out as soon as they're in Dubai. But yeah, definitely could see like such a big change in week 21, and that's definitely when the bump shape was definitely starting a lot. And yeah, nothing to do with the baby, but we also got engaged while we were out in Dubai. We got engaged like the first full night that we'd been there. So again, it was just an amazing trip. The only other thing I'd say about traveling while pregnant, I think it was like the perfect sort of weeks to be going, where you've got a bit of a bump, it's really cute but small, and what most people say to me is obviously the second trimester you're meant to have more energy. Thankfully, because I was all medicated up, I did feel a lot better, and I was glad we did take that trip when we did, because as soon as I started growing, and I feel like I do have quite a big bump for my sort of size, I just would have been very uncomfortable. Like, it was the only one thing that even just at 21 weeks I was like, oh, on the plane I just felt a bit uncomfortable. It was fine, like it was fine, it wasn't like painful or anything, but just, you know, where you can't sit still and you can't sort of get in a comfy position. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if you're going to take a trip, that time's perfect for if you're going to fly quite early, but where you're probably already showing a bit. Yeah, I literally we couldn't have timed it better. It was really good for us. And the last thing I'll mention about Dubai as well was, yeah, I tried everything on the week before just to make sure everything still fit me, because there was so much stuff, especially like, you know, like no denim shorts fit by this point already. Even some like linen-y type trousers just was a no-go. So just checking everything I took was definitely like stretchy and would still fit for, I think we went for like 9 or 10 nights. So just making sure it still had room just in case we did pop, which I definitely did pop. And yeah, by the time I'd say like 3 or 4 days in, there was so many bikinis and things like that. Like the tops just didn't fit anymore, which was crazy. So yeah, quickly realised bras, bikinis and just some dresses that didn't have a lot of give in them were just a no-go for me, even though I'd only just packed and tried them on. So yeah, went to good old M&S for a bra appointment to do a measurement, and yeah, I'd already gone up by that point by like 2 sizes it was. So yeah, I definitely recommend going as well, just because you do feel amazing just wearing ones that fit you properly again, and they're not sort of digging in, or they just fit nicely, and you feel better in yourself. So I'd definitely recommend that. And then a lot of the rest of the second trimester was, looking at my notes, just the same sort of thing, just the same symptoms. I did try once a month weaning myself off the nausea tablets just to see, because so many people say like for most people it apparently doesn't last like the full pregnancy. So, and obviously it's great if you don't need to be taking tablets throughout pregnancy, so just giving it a try just to see what the difference is, and see if I'd naturally, the nausea would have passed. But yeah, I've even been doing it up until, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I last tried to wean myself off, and it is still there, like 100%. Like, I just like, it takes about 2 days for like the nausea tablets to like leave my system, and I can feel it like as soon as it does. So yeah, I got straight back on them, and I don't think I'm gonna. I've got 8 weeks left till the due date. I just think it's one of them things that I was just destined to have it the full pregnancy, which is not great, but I'm on medication, so I'm just really grateful that I've still been able to partly enjoy this pregnancy by being on that medication. So I will be forever grateful for finding one that's really worked for me. But other things in the second, like a lot, just doing things like getting the nursery ready. So yeah, we've built our cot, we've put this paneling up, decided which room we were going to put the nursery in as well. That took us forever to do. And we've also booked in, just behind this camera on the other side of the nursery, we have booked in for a joiner to do us some wardrobes and drawers, and then like a changing mat's going to go on there, some floating shelves and things like that. So lots more storage on the other side. And then we've got this like cute little teddy chair, yeah, a cot, and yeah, we've got some little frames. I'll show you now. We've got our little frames up and our little cot, so cute. And then towards the back end, I'm just having to even look when the 3rd trimester starts. So this journal says after week 27 you're into the 3rd trimester. So yeah, the last few weeks of my 2nd trimester, the baby definitely started to obviously move around a lot more. And since week 26 according to the journal, I just haven't been able to basically sit up straight for a long period of time. And by a long period I mean 10 to 15 minutes, which has just been delightful. But basically it feels like, the only way I can describe it is, it feels like they're actually sat in my ribs. Like, it is ridiculous. And then actually I have felt kicks like basically through, like it feels like it's through where my rib cage is. Yeah, they're just sitting really high up, and then you can even notice it in like my bump photos. They're just, it starts literally from right under my boobs. So yeah, definitely getting quite out of breath, and just where I sort of need to So I'll be laid on a sofa on a night like this all the time, just laid back, so it basically like stretches out this area so they've got room. But yeah, when the midwife, during like the appointments that I've been having, she'll check the position of the baby, and then she'll know where to go and check for the heartbeat and things like that as well. So every time we've been, the baby has been head down already, which is really, really good. And I just think they're going to have really, really lanky legs. And that's why they're sat. If they're already head down and I can feel stuff up here, it just feels like it's going to be like the longest baby, which I was as well. But yeah, that's crazy thinking I'm in week 32 now, and this was like a problem 6 weeks ago and it's still a thing. And was there anything else? Oh yeah, another great side effect of pregnancy for me has been, I've always suffered with eczema literally since I was a baby. It was worse in childhood, but it does flare up like every winter, just like the usual like central heating in the UK, like it always makes things worse in the winter. But yeah, it's sort of been masked because my pregnancy started in winter, that I just had my normal eczema and I didn't think anything of it. But then obviously as the weather's got nicer here, it's actually somehow getting worse. And that's when I started to think, this isn't normal for my eczema. Normally like it's really manageable throughout summer. And checked with my midwife, who just confirmed everything that Google says, that it can normally go one of two ways. It can actually help during pregnancy and your eczema will get a bit better, or it can get worse and you're actually more prone to it and it can flare up even more. So of course my pregnancy decided, let's make it worse for her. So yeah, it was like really badly on my face, like all around my lip area, to the point where like I couldn't really, it was really hard to even speak. And then on my eyelids as well, even like creeping underneath as well. And there was a few days where like I couldn't really open my eyes properly. It was that sore and just dry that my eyelid wasn't being able to do what an eyelid's supposed to do. And yeah, with everything, so having this hay fever like I have, the eczema, I can't just take the normal stuff for it, because you're pregnant, the rules around it, what's not advised and things like that. So yeah, it's just been getting pregnancy safe versions from the doctors to treat all of these like little side symptoms, which has just been a delight. But yeah, I think I'd probably say I've had literally I'd say maybe 90% of symptoms that you read about in pregnancy. Some I'm not even putting in here because yeah, there's one that I had, I don't think I even wrote it in the journal, to be fair, but that was during the second trimester, and apparently you normally get it towards the back end if you do get it, of pregnancy. But of course mine came early in the second trimester. But yeah, I just don't need to go into that level of detail on YouTube to be put out to the world. But yeah, if you read about any just disgusting symptoms, I've probably had those as well. Yeah, it's been a fun old time. But yeah, we are officially well into our third trimester now. And yeah, I'm trying to think of any quick updates that I can give you on the third. We've started measuring now on the graph that you get on your midwife notes. Baby's measuring on the 97th centile, which when I've like read more into it and asked my midwife, it means out of 100 babies, we're in the sort of top 3% size wise, which I was like, whoa. It makes a lot of sense because of just how big bump feels. But yeah, I'm just trying not to compare to too many people. Like I'm not freaking out that I'm too big, because you'll have people at the opposite end probably freaking out that they think they're too small when they're not. Like everyone just carries so differently. So I'm not getting freaked out or panicked by it. and I was quite a big baby, so it doesn't really surprise me if it did end up a big baby. Who knows? Loads of people, when I've spoke to them on my Instagram, have said mine was measuring on that and it came out a 6 pound baby. So you just don't know. Like, there's a lot of factors that the graph and even the midwife said, like, it doesn't take into account everything. It is just an estimated guess, really. And yeah, we went for our 4D scan, which was so cute as well. That's been in the 3rd trimester, so just seeing the baby before they get too big and squished in there, getting to see their face and their little details, and it is just absolutely insane. Like, it's just the craziest thing. We still haven't came to terms with the fact that we're even having a baby. Yeah, it's just crazy. We can't get our heads around it, and we've said, I don't know if it's worse because we haven't found out if we're having a girl or a boy, but it's like, it's one less thing that you can't even picture it because we don't even know what the gender's going to be. But yeah, I'm hoping for, once this hay fever, once this is finished up, hoping just for a relaxing month or so. I've just gone into month 8. And yeah, it's just crazy thinking we're in July now, so we can officially say we're actually due next month. Crazy. But yeah, I feel like I've literally just thrown a lot of different conversation at you there about the 2nd trimester, but I hope you found it interesting, and if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. And yeah, I don't know what my next video will be, don't have a clue. Maybe I'll do a nursery sort of tour once it's actually all done, because at the minute it's definitely not done. It's not even halfway there done. But yeah, I will see you in my next video.